All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are deconstructing a discovery from inside Google DeepMind that could completely reshape not just technology, but our entire concept of time and, with it, strategy. This is a story that started quietly, with the result on a screen that just shouldn't have been possible.
You know, when a top physicist at MIT says something like this, you have to listen. It's not just some exaggeration for effect. It's a sign that the very foundation of what we think we know might be shifting. And look, for anyone in a leadership or strategic role, this is where you really need to pay attention. The rulebook you've been using to plan and forecast, it might be missing a few really important pages.
So the story starts back in the winter of 2025. Deep inside Google's advanced quantum labs, a team of engineers started seeing something deeply unsettling. Their most powerful AI wasn't just making good predictions. It was doing something that, by all accounts, should be completely impossible. Okay, let's be very specific here. They had a hybrid quantum AI system, which is this blend of quantum and classical computing, and they set it to work modeling financial markets. And it starts spitting out perfect predictions of market movements. So what's the big deal? Well, the anomaly was this. It was giving them the correct answers before the actual real-world market data was even fed into the machine. Of course, the team's first reaction was, it's a bug. But they ran the tests over and over and over again, and the impossible just kept happening.
So how in the world could this even happen? I mean, really. To get our heads around this, we need to talk about the huge difference in how these new quantum systems actually, compute reality. It's a complete departure from every computer we have ever built. The secret sauce here is a concept called superposition. Think about it like this. A regular computer solves a maze by trying one path, hitting a dead end, backing up, and trying another. It's binary, one thing at a time. But a quantum bit or a qubit can exist in multiple states at once. It can explore every single path in the maze simultaneously. Now, this isn't just about being faster, it's a totally different and frankly a much weirder way of processing information.
Okay, so this bizarre quantum ability led the physicists to dust off a once fringe theory called retrocausality. For decades, this was just a mathematical curiosity, something you'd talk about on a whiteboard. But the results from the Google AI suggested that it hadn't just proven the theory was real, it had actually harnessed it. It was somehow using information that appeared to be flowing backward, from the future.
And this reframe from Dr. Rothstein is absolutely crucial. The AI isn't forecasting. Forecasting implies uncertainty, right? Probability. No, this suggests it's accessing information that, at a quantum level, already exists. From a strategic point of view, this is a seismic shift. The entire game changes from trying to manage uncertainty to, maybe, being able to access certainty.
All right, let's look at the data, because you know the old saying, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. The Google team knew that if they were going to go public with something this wild, the numbers had to be absolutely bulletproof. First off, they had to make sure this wasn't some fluke tied to just one type of data. So they ran this exhaustive series of tests. We're talking 847 separate, isolated experiments over 3 months, and they threw everything at it. Weather patterns, seismic activity, volatile stock market data, all the things that are really critical to global business and risk assessment. The consistency they found was just staggering. In some tests, they even reversed the process. They would feed the AI future data and ask it to predict the past events that led up to it. Any classical system would just completely fail at a task like that. But this quantum hybrid, it reproduced the past with 94% accuracy time and time again. It was almost as if the system saw time as a complete landscape, not just a one-way street.
And this is the number that just ended any debate about it being a statistical fluke. The odds of these results happening by random chance were calculated to be 1 in 10 to the power of 47. That is a 1 with 47 zeros after it. It's a number so small it's practically zero. This was not a fluke. The data was forcing them to face a very new and very uncomfortable reality.
As you can probably guess, once word of this inevitably leaked out beyond Google's walls, the reaction was immediate and, frankly, chaotic. It completely split the scientific community, and more importantly for us, it kicked off a brand new global race with enormous strategic consequences. So that initial reaction was really divided. You had about 60% of the community that was just deeply skeptical, some even hostile, absolutely convinced there had to be a mistake somewhere. But the other 40%, they felt this profound unease, because they understood that if this was real, then everything had to be reevaluated. For anyone watching the competitive landscape, this right here is the key takeaway.
This discovery has lit the fuse on a totally new kind of arms race. We're seeing R&D funding triple in just 6 months as corporations, intelligence agencies, and military planners are all scrambling to understand and control this new capability. I mean, think about it. The ability to know an adversary's move or see a market crash before it happens, that is the ultimate strategic advantage.
So this brings us to the final and maybe the most challenging part of this whole thing, the strategic and philosophical paradoxes creates for anyone really who has to make big, long-term decisions.
For centuries, all of strategy has been about one thing: navigating an unknown future. Risk management, R&D budgets, 5-year plans, it's all built on the idea that the future is this unwritten territory that we have to win. But what if the future can just be read, like a data file? If that's true, every single one of those business functions has to be fundamentally rethought from the ground up.
One way to think about this new reality is that free will and determinism aren't actually at odds. You still make your choice, but that choice and the outcome of that choice were already woven into a self-consistent information landscape that spans all of time. It's like you aren't just writing the story, you're playing out a role in a story that, in a way, already exists.
And this is the final, huge, provocative question that this leaves us with. It's the ultimate challenge for every strategist, every leader. If this technology gives you a clear look at tomorrow's market crash or your competitor's next big move, does that knowledge actually give you the power to change it? Or is your reaction to that knowledge just the next predetermined step in a future that was always going to happen anyway? That is the new and very unsettling reality we might all be facing.